Welcome back to another episode of the Good Morning Minute podcast. I'm your host, Angelina Mojica, certified family life educator, life coach, and founder of Empower Her Steps. This season, we're stepping into a new series called Rooted, Restoring the Fruit of the Spirit, a conversation about identity, healing, and inner growth. While the fruit of the Spirit comes from a faith-based framework, the heart of this season is something we all can relate to, the qualities that shape who we are. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, self-control, and how life experiences either grow or challenge those qualities. We're not here to label people good or bad, right or wrong. We are here to explore what's beneath the surface, what shaped us, what stretched us, and what helped us grow. So if you will, help me say hello and welcome our guest, and that is Eboni Jackson. Eboni, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. I'm excited.
I'm excited to have you. I'm excited to get to know more about you through our conversation. But before we start, tell us a little bit about who you are and what this current season of life looks like for you.
So I am a certified level 1 CrossFit coach. And I began my journey, a few years back, right around the time my daughter was, she was a senior in high school. And I have been a single mother her entire life. And something really struck me. A question popped in my head, like, who is Eboni at this point? Like, who is Eboni outside of being a mother? And in that moment, during her senior year, I was like, you know what? I have no idea. So I started this journey of just figuring out like who I was, what did I like, what didn't I like. I know that I was certainly somebody before I had my daughter. So I had to figure out who I was going to be once she left the nest, right? So a friend invited me to her CrossFit gym, and she had invited me, and I'm like, no, 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 that's not what I do. That's no, no, no. But then she was very adamant about me going. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. Showed up to the gym the first day. Um, the community in this gym was just so amazing. We did a workout where it was like, lifting weights. And everybody around me was like, oh my gosh, you're so good. You're so strong. Way to go. And I really, really, really liked the feeling of that, the feeling of the community, how I felt during the workout, how I felt afterwards. And from that day on, I have not looked back. I have gone to the gym. Um, I'm in the gym no less than 5 or 6 days out of the week. And fast forward, I decided to become a coach. And so now I am coaching athletes, different levels. And Angelina, I think I have found what I was put on this planet to do. And it is to spread fitness to
Mhm.
everybody that will listen.
Mm. I love that. I love when you find the thing you are called to do. It is such a freeing moment where it's now a passion driven job, but it really isn't a job because it is passion driven and it re-energizes you every time you connect to it. I love this. So several things that I can connect with. I too have been a single mother, and I just turned 50 this past Monday, but
Wow.
when I remember going into my 30s and looking down and going, "Oh, this is not where I wanted to be in life. What am I here to do?" And my babies were little at that time, but I get it. I think everybody goes through a particular moment like that, especially as the nest starts to empty, for sure.
Yep.
So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there going, "Oh, let me tune in a little bit more."
Yeah.
You're talking about me for sure. So yeah, let's jump into that. So when you look at your life right now, which inner quality, whether that be peace, patience, kindness, or resilience, feels most connected to your journey?
It's resilience. And that resonates with me in everything that I do.
Mhm.
From being a single parent, from, achieving goals at my W-2, at starting Fit 404, which is my fitness brand. I possess the resilience that it just keeps me going. It just keeps me going. And like when I hear the word resilience, automatically think of when I was training for my half Ironman about 2 years ago. And Ironman is a triathlon. It's a swim, bike, run. And as I was training for this triathlon, I ended up getting into a bike accident and injured my shoulder. So for 30 days, I could not train at all. But I still decided to do that race in May anyway. So um, it taught me a lot. It taught me if I put my mind to something, I certainly can do it. And so I just always think about resilience and just how to get through this journey we call life.
Mm, I like that. And you're tapping into something that I want to go a little deeper in because resilience is something that develops after a struggle or after
Mhm.
an experience. So in order for this resilience to truly be something that connects to your journey, you had to go through some tough stuff. Like, so you talked about your shoulder, but I'm sure there's other things like you didn't just walk into the gym and you were lifting and, all of those things. Like there's a story there that probably un or just revealed or unraveled as you started to increase in those weights and all those things. Let's talk a little bit about that. What was it?
Again, going back to just becoming an empty nester, I think around that time, I definitely felt like I was going into a little bit of a depression, right? So my daughter was leaving. I'm now, in my 40s. My body is changing. I've never seen curves like this before. You know what I mean? So it was all of those things. I was one prior anytime a camera was out, I was smiling for the camera, posing for the camera. But in that season, I shied away from the camera. I couldn't tell you how long it had been since I had been in a swimsuit. So all of those things were really just piling on, and finding an outlet for myself was was major. It was huge. It was a huge turning point for me, and so going to the gym, feeling what I felt in that gym, and consistently going, um, I got my daughter settled at school. She was happy, she was thriving. And then when I looked at my physical changes, I was so much happier. I liked what I saw in the mirror. The confidence was back. um you're right, it was a lot of things that I was going through emotionally that I had to deal with, and I took it out in the gym. So that is truly what helped me get through that season.
And that's such a good thing to talk about because I know there's many women, especially as like I mentioned, I just turned 50, but as we increase in years, like our body changes. Um, and it's I mean it's women go through these experiences and it's like, wow, like you mentioned, oops, there's some curves here that weren't there before. And like, oh my gosh. But it is because sometimes I know just even with myself, I'm going, wow, why am I feeling this way
Yep.
inside? What's really going on? And to find a healthy outlet that helps you find your way back to who you are. I think,
Yeah.
kind of highlighting this journey that you were on. But I mean, it's true. So many of us women tie ourselves to our children. If we have children,
Yep.
that becomes part of our identity, if
Yep.
we're in a marriage or whatever, like so many things, whether it's a job or something, we tie ourselves to that, making it an identity for ourselves when in actuality, we are here for purpose. And the thing is, you found yours in the gym, and I love that. How can someone who is like going through something like this, like how can you what kind of advice, I guess, would you give them? How would you recommend or suggest them tapping into to finding that purpose for themselves?
I think you should certainly lean into it, right? I think one thing that I didn't mention, like recently, I sought out a therapist, right? And for years, I'm like, Um, I don't need a therapist. I'm fine. You go to church. That should be enough, right? But it wasn't enough, right? And I think me I wish I would have tapped into that outlet years ago because I have been able to reveal things about myself that I was not aware of, to kind of help me through this journey. So I certainly say lean into how you're feeling. It's okay to have those feelings. We're all experiencing something, if not the same, something very similar, and find a group or, you know, a therapist or a gym that you can connect with to really help you explore what that looks like for you. For me, it was the gym. Um, I I always tell, especially moms, whether they're single moms, married, doesn't matter. To your point, we attach ourselves to our kids, right? And I tell folks all of the time, it's great to love on your kids. It's great to be there for your kids, but you have to put yourself first. No one is more important to you than you.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just can't, it cannot work that way. And I learned this kind of the hard way. So I wish I would have, when my daughter was younger, tapped into the gym or tapped into the church more, or, you know what I mean, found a single moms group that I could connect with, because trying to find who you are after they've left the house, it's a little harder to navigate. But you certainly can get there, but the sooner, the better.
Mm-hmm. And those are all important things. I want to kind of go back a little bit because as you're going through your healing, so you're tapping into the gym, you're tapping into some counseling, but as you're
Mhm.
going through it, what did you see, or what did that season in your life reveal about how you saw yourself?
I am somebody who and I think this stems a lot from being a single parent. I
Mm-hmm.
kind of, you're faced with challenges and you don't necessarily have an outlet. So you just put your head down and you just figure it out, right? You're just figuring things out. Bumps come in the road and you just figure it out. And you're not looking, really, you're not seeking outside assistance. You're just internalizing everything. And then what ends up happening, or what happened for me, is because I was so like connected with my daughter, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was I was very prickly, right? And I think that that was my way of just protecting her, making sure that everything that I wanted to do with and for her, I could do. And when you're prickly like that, it's off-putting to others. And so that in when you do that, you're losing relationships in the process,
Mm-hmm.
right? So then you don't have an outlet because you're prickly and nobody wants to deal with somebody that's prickly like that. So that is something that I've certainly uncovered about myself. And now I'm starting to peel those layers off, right? It's okay to say no. No is a complete sentence. And I don't have to feel bad about it. I don't have to say it in a nasty way. It's just no, right? Underneath these layers, I am kind, I am silly, you know, there is some humor there. And I think I guarded all of that to protect my daughter. And in the midst of all of that, I lost myself. You lose relationships, like I said. And so me stepping out and doing this fitness brand has allowed me to really see who Ebony is. And it's been a great, great journey.
Something about something just being yours is so
Hmm.
empowering, right? And
Yep.
then you're creating it for yourself. So
Yep.
uplifting, so empowering. But I love that you're being so vulnerable right now because as a single mom, I get the prickly side, because you've been through so much, and whether it was, trauma or whatever that brought you to this place. I know for me, my experience was I'm so tired of being disappointed. I'm so tired of being vulnerable and being let down that I can
Yeah.
just do it myself. So, the walls come up, and
Yep.
But it's so funny though, because you're talking about relationships and how it pushes people away, but it really does. And it's not just romantic relationships, because I remember being in work at work and going, you know what? I don't have to like you to work with you. We just got to get this job done. And that's the prickly side of things,
Right.
right? And you don't, and you really have like no feeling behind it, because you're just like, my focus is on my children. My focus
Yeah.
is on making that money so I can make sure that they have something to eat and they're taken care of. But inside, I remember always going, "Ugh, why can't, why can't I just get along with people at work, or
Right.
what's going on?" Realizing it wasn't until later in life when I started my own healing journey that I realized it all stems from you. Like if you want things
Yes.
to change, you've got to start with you. Uh,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
your story really touches my heart. For
Yeah. It's a,
yeah.
it's a vicious cycle, right? So you're wanting to be strong for your kids, you're prickly to outsiders, but doing that creates a lot of loneliness,
Hmm.
right? And as you get older, I don't necessarily need hundreds of friends, but you want a tight little circle, right? And when you look around and there is no circle, you have to think to yourself, what am I doing to like not have this circle that all of us, I feel, need? Like you need a circle of folks that are going to support you and do all of the things with you. So yeah, I think getting older, you certainly get a little wiser, and you just understand yourself better and you just move different. Like once you know, then you do it differently.
Yeah, and you mentioned like tapping into the some community resources and things like that. It's a it's funny because as a single mom, like this is just hitting me, like this is some revelation that's just hitting me, but it's like we live for our children, but then they grow and they leave and they go into their own relationships. And so when we're by ourselves, that's when we realize, oh my gosh, when I had my children, that was the distraction, because then
Yep.
I didn't have to
Yep.
worry about how I felt. I didn't have to feel the loneliness and all
Yep.
these things. But when you're by yourself, then you're like, oh yeah, looking around, I need
All
some,
you can do
I
is
need
like
something.
it's just you. And so you
Yeah.
have to lean into it and understand like you created this, right? Like this is what you've created. So yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's eye-opening, but it's I think it's for me, it was certainly necessary. Because again, I know I keep bringing up Fit 404, which is my brand, but this is what is keeping me going. Like I have that resilience. I am determined to get this off the ground and see it all the way through, because I know that there are more folks out there like me and they just don't have an outlet. And fitness was my outlet. And so if I can help others figure out that fitness is their outlet, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Mm. And I love that, because as you go through your own healing journey, and again, let me remind people that are listening, healing is not a linear process. It's not like you can go A, B, C, D, and
Right.
you're there at the end and you're all healed. It is all over the place, and it spirals and it goes all kinds of ways. But as you're stepping into that, you definitely grow in your understanding of who you are, and kind of your outlook in life too. And it changes. Your
Mhm.
viewpoint changes as you start healing elements of your life and connecting to maybe those pieces that fell off along the way of, your life journey. Ebony, what do your relationships look like now? And kind of what does your sense of self look like?
So I do feel like, okay, so a year ago, I never would have done a podcast, would have never done it, right? So I am certainly a lot more vulnerable. That story that I just shared with you, like about my daughter, about going through that depression season, if you will, I would have never shared that. So being able to speak with you candidly about my journey, has definitely put me in a better position with relationships, right? I can certainly empathize with people a lot better. I am doing a lot more listening than I am speaking, which is great. And I think that, for folks that have known me forever, seeing this vulnerable side is new for them. And they like it, and I absolutely love it. I love it. It's okay to have a softer side, and still get your point across. Like, I mean, that's huge for me. So definitely it has changed my life in a positive way. Um, and having opportunities with folks like you on a podcast is just, I this would have never been a thing for me 2, 3 years ago.
I love that. And it's true because as you start discovering more about yourself and what had hurt you, what has healed you, and you do that. You mentioned empathy growing. And it's true, you grow in empathy because then you can start relating to other people. Oh, wow.
Yes.
That has happened to me in some capacity. I totally get it. And you start connecting again
Yes.
to others. And I think that's why community is so important too, because we need, I know being a single mom, it's hard for us to ask for help, but
Yes.
it's needed. And we don't realize that our journey could have been much easier had we asked
Yep.
for help sometimes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like, it would have been so much better, right? I don't know
Mhm,
about easier, but definitely, a little better for sure. I think I have always equated vulnerability with being like
mhm,
soft, or being like somebody who could be taken advantage of. And that's not true. Being vulnerable allows me to connect with other human beings, and I'm able to shine my light. So it's great.
mhm. I love that. So looking back, what do you understand now about yourself that you didn't before?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Um, I think that what I was a very tough single mom. And I think what I have learned so far, because I'm still learning, right? What I'm learning is that I'm not as tough. Like, as in, I'm still resilient, right? But I'm not as like prickly as I was. And I think, I keep honing in on that because it was huge. Like, even at work, um, you know, I was probably the employee who was like, "Oh no, you go to Ebony last," like, right, if you need something. And now it's like, "Oh, okay, let's reach out to Ebony because she probably will have the answer and
Mhm.
help guide us through it," right? So that is certainly something that I've learned, and certainly appreciating.
I love that. Ah, man, that is it's a beautiful picture. And it's also very beautiful how you've allowed yourself to soften inside, but you're toughening, you're getting stronger physically, like on the
Yes.
outside. So
Yes.
so the strength is there, and you still have the power, and you're still building on that physically, but you've allowed yourself emotionally to become more soft and
Yes.
available for others to connect to. And I think that's a beautiful picture. I remember one time going to an MMA class and working out so hard that I had because we tend to bury our emotions, and I don't know if you've ever experienced this, working heavy, lifting heavy or anything like that, but I remember feeling a lot of the emotions that I was not dealing with bubble up to the point to where I'm like, I feel like I need to like just cry right now.
Yes.
And it's not going to be a pretty cry, it's going to be an ugly cry. So I need to step off the mat and go do that, take care of my business. But and that's important for people to know too. Like, it's gonna come out one way or another,
Hmm.
but this is a healthy way to do it. And so now, like, when I get in the gym, my goal is to be like you, Ebony, to be in the gym 5 times out of the week. Um,
Let's go, girl. Let's go. I'm ready.
but I'm working on it, and I like to lift weights because I feel that helps release a lot of the tension that I tend to, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, just put on myself. But I definitely like to do that because I sleep better at night when I'm
Yeah.
lifting, and I just release all of that emotion. because I'm one of those that likes to just pull it in and I'm fine, taking the
Yep.
pictures, smiling, all of those things for sure.
We do a lot of that. I think not a lot, but we do some of that as single parents, right? You mask it. You don't want your kids to see you cry or be vulnerable. But I think that those are things that they certainly should see as well. You're human. We're human, and we're allowed to be human. There are moments that should be shared, and um, I I recently was like really vulnerable with my daughter, and it almost took her by surprise because she's never seen me in
Mm,
that state.
yeah.
So like these kids, they should see that. It's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to be sad. As long as we understand we can't live in those negative spaces, but you're allowed to lean into it.
And that's important that you're bringing up too is it's going to happen and it doesn't and just because you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable inside it doesn't mean that your resilience isn't there. Like
Right.
you're gonna feel the things because you are human, um,
Right.
but you still know how to allow yourself to bounce back in that resilience. You've like, oh, I've been here before. This is what it feels like, but I'm gonna bounce back. You don't like you said, you don't allow yourself to just live in it
Yep.
and do nothing. So I love that. Um, yeah, so Ebony, for those that are listening today, to your message, what is it that you want them to hear from you?
I want people to know that it does not matter what season you are in. If working out is your outlet, if going to church is your outlet, if sewing, is your outlet, find your outlet. It is important that we find it and navigate our season in a good, healthy way. That's what I want people to know. I want them to know that you are not alone. I think that we certainly should talk more about these things, especially women as we get older. We don't talk about these things, and it's like we turn 50, and it's like, well, if you knew this, why did you not tell me this? So
Mhm.
I want to be um that liaison, that bridge that helps people understand it's okay if you were here right now, but in 6 months we're going to be here in a better position because we found out our outlet.
Hmm. I love it. Yep, and that's true. I mean, we got to connect to what makes us better and what heals us and grows us for sure. I just want to say thank you so much for sharing so openly. It's a reminder that growth rarely starts with trying harder. It starts with
Mhm.
understanding ourselves more compassionately, and that is your journey for sure. Ebony
Yes.
is just growing and understanding who you are so that you can help others too. And that's the beauty of finding purpose is that you connect to yourself at the core so that you can help others in their own journey as they struggle. Um,
Yes.
if you could, Ebony, as we get ready to close, leave listeners with one thought, truth, or encouragement to help them stay more grounded and rooted in who they are becoming, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. You are allowed to be authentically you.
Hmm.
That's it. You're allowed to be you.
And that's so simply said, but hard to do
Mhm.
because we are so wrapped up in performance and perfection and
Yes.
we get
Yes.
sidetracked and really you're talking about the core of self-love there, just loving
Yes.
yourself, accepting yourself for who you are, and not being ashamed to let your light shine for sure. I love it.
Let it shine.
Yes. So before we close, where can people connect with you or learn more about what you're doing?
So I on my website is THEFIT 404.com. I'm on Instagram at thefit404. I'm also on what else is there? I have Instagram. I have
Is it Facebook, TikTok?
TikTok,
Okay,
the Fit 404 as well. So everything,
wonderful.
the Fit 404. If you are looking to start your journey, I know some folks think that they need to be ready in order to start that journey. No, I'm here to meet everybody where they are. You can certainly go onto my website and we can do a discovery call, 15 minutes, and figure out what works best for you. I do virtual workouts, in-person workouts, you name it, I'm sure I can do it for you.
Love it. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ebony, for sharing your story and your growth with us. What I love about conversations like this is the reminder that transformation isn't about perfection, it's about awareness, healing, and intention. When we tend to the root, the fruit begins to change naturally. So, for those of you listening, take a moment to reflect which inner quality feels hardest right now and what part of your story might be asking for more care. For me, my faith is where that healing begins. And if you're curious about that journey, you're always welcome here. No pressure, no judgment, just space to grow. So until next time, stay rooted, stay real, and stay growing. I'm Angelina Mojica, your life coach, sending you much love, much peace, many blessings.